Discord. Go ahead and visit our Discord, www.limitbreakradio.com/Discord. Lloyd in the hashtag LBR calls will be happy to field your call if you want in on this discussion. And our
Will he be happy to?
He will be Uncle Happy to do that for everybody. But we're going to move into our discussion. And apparently there was a Final Fantasy XIV interview with Natsuko Ishikawa and Bani Oda, and they are discussing the fine art of MMO storytelling. Lloyd, what can you tell us about this interview?
Well, I picked out 3 interview questions and answers that seemed relevant to me anyway. The rest of it was kind of fluff and stupid.
Fluff like how? And you seem so enthusiastic to be here.
Oh.
And fluff how?
Fluff, like, just figuring out like what they do. Like, you can already tell that they're lead producers for the storyline, and I can't remember what the other one is. But just things that don't really pertain to the game, but to them personally. I don't really care to know them personally.
Okay,
in these
that's
interviews.
fair.
I kind of want to know more about the game.
Okay.
But the first question I picked out was, what did the creative process look like for Stormblood? How long? Fuck! I hate reading.
No, it's okay. This question was written wrong. You're not wrong.
We're just okay with the fact that someone doesn't even play the fucking game is just like weeding out all the things that don't matter to him.
Yeah.
Objectively. Like Nika's just like, no, it's fine. You know, whatever.
We can start from the top if you want.
No. See, Skuro, this is how we do our show. Is where we have someone proofread what we're going to talk about, and then if they say that it's not worth talking about, and they explain why, then that's fine and valid because we don't want to waste everyone's time with stupid bullshit, Skuro.
But also, Skuro, you're one to complain because you don't play either.
That's why I think we should read all of it. Because you know what? I think it's integrity to the viewer that they get the full information.
We'll go back to Final Fantasy XI then. We'll read the wiki.
We're not reading.
There we go.
Fuck, this is an interview. This is not okay. There's actually a lot of stuff here. We can talk about this.
Okay.
All right, let's get the good questions out of the way first, and then we'll just determine if the fluff questions were really bullshit.
Or we can just read the thing.
Oh my god. All right, fine.
I already have it open.
Do whatever the fuck, Nika. You read it because apparently Lloyd is a fucking moron and can't read basic English.
I can read it since, okay, Lloyd doesn't care about who they are personally, which is fair, but there are some people who might care, and we have to do our due diligence as community voices to make sure that everybody knows.
Oh my god. Okay, A, fuck you, and B, no we don't, and C, let's go ahead and read what the fuck they are.
So, the first question is literally that. As some of our readers might not be familiar with whom you are, would you be so kind and give us a brief introduction of yourself and what you've worked on? This is kind of important. If they're going to talk about the story, I want to know what their credibility is, okay? All right. So Oda says, before I joined Square Enix, I worked in the publishing industry for just under 8 years as a writer and editor. I came to the company just after Yoshida had taken charge of FF14 and joined his team. So he's been here since right after he took over 1.0. No, not skipping. He's participating in the world building and writing for the lore for the final act of FF14. Okay, so this guy has been writing since the end of 1.0, which we all agreed was good. So this guy is important.
Wait, the end of one? Didn't we all agree that was ass?
No, the end of it, like once Yoshi took over and they destroyed the world and we started the game over, like that part of it.
Yeah, that part was great. But...
Yeah, that's the part where he took over at. That's where this writer came in. So then from the Heaven's Word expansion onwards, I was also responsible for writing the main story. Ishikawa says, I have always been a game planner who also writes scenarios. I used to make RPGs for a different company, and of course won't tell us who. And I transferred over to the 14 team during the development for ARR. I would say the largest scale scenarios that I have written would be the Binding Coil of Bahamut. Okay, this guy writes Binding Coil of Bahamut, Crystal Tower, which also was pretty decent, and the job quests for Rogue and Black.
Whoa, hold on. No. Crystal
Wow.
Tower was shit.
Okay, right. I'm saying the Crystal... No, look at Crystal Tower story versus all the other 24-man stories.
Okay, Crystal Tower is still shit.
But it was better than Boob Pirate and like
okay,
the other
so
one.
great. It was a rock hard shit instead of a leaky swamp
No,
shit.
I like the Crystal Tower story. It had a lot to do with Allegan lore. I really enjoyed it actually.
They just followed the stupid Makote, bro. Like, I would say that the story is more integrated into the actual lore of 14, but like it was not a good story. Like,
okay, but it was more interesting in terms of lore, and that's cool. So he says also the first main, and I think Black Knight is a mistranslation from Dark Knight, obviously. The first main quest I wrote was the Central Kurthus Highlands episode from 2.0. I don't know what that particular main quest was.
So it's really good, is what you're talking. Is what you're saying?
I don't understand what that means. The Central Kurthus Highland episode. Okay. More recently, I've been working on the post 3.2 story with Mr. Oda. All right, cool. At TCG, or TGG, it's not TCG.
That's what I thought. I'm like, card game? What? No? Oh, okay.
It's thegg.net, so TGG. Has said, what has it been like working for Square Enix and writing for the FF14 series? And what have you enjoyed the most with the FF14 series so far? Both in terms of working on the games and the actual games itself. Oda says, in my case, I did not join Square Enix with the desire to be a scenario writer from the start, but wound up doing my current job from coming together of random circumstances. That's great. It feels very strange indeed to be writing scenarios for a series that I have been playing as a gamer since childhood. When we are in development, we are constantly chasing deadlines. So for me, the most fun thing is probably reading player reactions online and talking to the fans directly at offline events after release. Going to the fan festivals was a very special experience. Oh, this guy was at the fan festivals? Did we meet this guy?
Why did we even meet this guy?
I don't know.
Bro, who are you?
I feel like I remember an Oda.
That does sound familiar.
He was probably at like one of the panels or like the stage highlight things.
You know, they probably called him like Oda-san or something, and probably threw everyone off.
Yeah,
Ishikawa's because people don't know about last things like Oda, like Chan or San or Senpai. It's completely different. You stupid idiot.
Okay. Ishikawa says 14 is the largest scale title he's ever been involved with. However, the team communicates as meticulously and passionately with each other as a team on a small scale project would.
Okay, I don't believe that for a second, but
so he's saying that a large scale game still communicates like a small scale project would because they're good at communicating apparently, which we don't think is true, as we have proven with the Stormblood story. Yeah. Of course, everyone wants to do their best work, but a majority of the staff look at things from a perspective of what would be best for the game overall. And I very much take that to heart when writing the scenarios. Developing this game is very stimulating and great fun.
He gets hard writing for this game.
I think so. I think Ishikawa is a little more excited than he should be.
Okay, so I'm glad we learned lots of shit from this.
All right, since the next one is one of the questions.
Do you agree with me, Jackson?
Lloyd picked out this next question. So do you want to read this one since you find it very important?
No. You can go. You're doing good.
Lloyd has already demonstrated his inability to read.
I'll do it, but you lose a point.
Inability to read.
I'll do it, but minus 1 point. All right. No, you didn't read it incorrectly. It's written wrongly. Like, watch me read it too. It says, "What did the creative process look like for Stormblood? How long time did the story take to create?" See, that's incorrect grammar.
Love you long time.
Probably like how much time did the story take to create? And did you at any time have to use the "kill my darlings" method? What is that?
And what is that, Nika? Teach me.
It drove me nuts.
I guess just killing people off. Like your favorite people.
Oh, like killing off. Oh,
Thrones.
yeah. Like you kill off characters or kill off ideas that you really liked. I don't know. Let's see.
We should Google this.
Well, you know what?
Or someone in the chat know what "kill my darlings" method means? Someone who's a writer.
They haven't even killed anyone that matters, though.
They haven't. I mean, they didn't even kill fucking Estinian. I think to kill my darlings, I would agree that was a thing if Estinian died, but he didn't. So, fuck. Anyway. This game is an online title, and we are adding...
Pause. It says,
pausing.
In other words, you have to get rid of your most precious and especially self-indulgent passages for the greater good of your literary work. Okay.
Right. Passages?
So, like, either
if he, like, really
either a storyline or a character or something that's really important and precious that you really love, but killing it off would make the game better and the story better overall.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So it could be a character, or it could be like the way a story is going, but then you realize it will be better if you go a different way. So like anything that you really love.
That makes sense. Okay,
that's a good question. All right, that is a good question. See, Lloyd did pick out a good one. I'll give you credit there, but still minus 1 for not reading it. All right, he says, the game is an online title, and we are adding major patches every 3.5 months. 3 months, with full expansions every 2 years. Accordingly, we get to experience the development to release cycle many times over in a short period and can thus review the process and make it more efficient each time. One of the new things we tried when making Heaven's Word was for our producer and director, Mr. Yoshida, main scenario writer, Miss Ishikawa, Ishikawa's a girl, right, and myself to get together for an intensive 3-day discussion to create the plot and storyline for this expansion.
I bet they do.
See, I highlighted this because
is it
that answer right at the last.
Is it just me, or does an intense 3-day discussion not seem like enough time to create an entire storyline?
For expansion.
For a whole expansion? Yeah. For a 2-year, he just said we experience full expansions 2 years, every 2 years, so we get to experience the release to end cycle many times over. So for this cycle, we got together. No, this is for Heaven's Word. Okay, this wasn't for Stormblood. They don't even know what they did for Stormblood. This is one of the new things we tried for Heaven's Word, was for all of us to get together for an intense 3-day discussion to create the entire plot of this.
They probably did it for Stormblood, though.
Yeah, well, I mean,
they probably did. They said they started it new with Heaven's Word.
I assume they plan out. All right, so for patch 3.1, this is going to be the giant plot thing, and then for patch 3.2, this is going to be the giant plot thing.
But this does prove, I will still forever complain about Vidergelt not being in that one main story scenario, and this proves it. If 3 of them get together in a room, and the one person said, "Oh, I only did the quests for Rogue and Dark Knight," did they not talk to the people who did Monk to realize that he's important and should be there?
Yeah,
probably not.
Of course not.
He does prove, even though he said they communicate like a small scale team, I almost don't believe that.
Not.
When they just said that they planned out the entire plot in a 3-day hold up in a room.
It's in a stupor of drugs, hookers, and beer.
I mean,
people don't
knock out a
maybe
whole thing of which one go a whole entire thing of content. No, that's way too short.
I don't understand Ishikawa's response very well, because the question was, what's the creative process look like? She said, I work on patches alongside creating the new expansions, as well as writing text for the official website and publications, and also helping out at promotional events. I'm just so busy that I honestly forgot. What the creative process looked like for Stormblood?
Forgot the question.
I forgot how creative things work.
Forgot how the creative things work because I also wrote other things. So the biggest thing that I wrote, I just forgot about it while I did other little things.
Makes sense. Sometimes you just get caught up in it,
I guess.
It makes a lot of sense hearing these responses why Final Fantasy XIV story maybe not be the best as it was.
Yeah.
I'm glad it has proper English.
Yeah.
They couldn't get to the story because they had to update the website and let you know that the Mog Station was updated and had items to purchase. Okay? It's a big deal.
Well, they still haven't updated the last update with the items and all that, so we still don't know what items came in the last patch.
I mean, it's the
weapons,
but there may be.
But
other
but you're right. The
items.
website's not officially updated with them. All right, Robin again asks at TGG, what is the one thing you are most proud of when it comes to your involvement in FF14? If you could go back in time, would you then like to change or make anything undone? If their answer is not killing the Sultana, then I don't have an answer. Oda says, however I look at it, what I am most proud of is how we have managed to continue running the game with the support of the fans.
Fuck off.
That's not even in a... What? I am proud of how we have managed to continue the game with support of the fans. Any game can continue with support of the fans, forever. Continuing the game is nothing. Making a good game is what matters more.
I'm just glad people are still paying for this shit. So
that's exactly the sentiment I got from it.
Look at what Ishikawa says here. That's exactly it. I would not like to turn back the clock, even if I could, because we give everything to the project each time. I use my regrets
about. Get the fuck out of here! You are lying your goddamn teeth
or
off
maybe
of your face.
Or maybe
if there's absolutely nothing you would change. Fuck you.
Yeah, but the thing is that. How much trouble would she be in if she was like, yeah, we really didn't have enough time to write the story and we think it's actually kind of bad and I wish I could go back and change it.
Okay, well, guess what? You can come up with some kind of fluff, non-existent answer where it's like, oh, yeah, I remember there was this one NPC where I would have really liked to be able to give more backstory because I really liked that one NPC, but we just couldn't fit it into the schedule. Give some kind of fucking answer.
That's
literally
true.
Every single person in game development would want to do something different. 100%.
And you wouldn't want to try to pad out the Warriors of Darkness. Are you kidding me? Like the one storyline everyone felt like you fucking wrapped up way too quick. No.
Yeah, we all wanted more about the Warriors of Darkness. They were introduced. We got a couple badass scenes of them. They fell off the face of the earth and were like seen in the background of like one scene at the end of the next patch. And then when they showed up and everything ended in one patch, it was horrible.
Or how about the fucking Garlean or the Ascians on the fucking moon?
But see, she says
Remember
here
what
she
happened
wouldn't.
to that?
But see, her reasoning for that is because she uses her regrets about the last project to make the next one better. So she wouldn't want to change the regrets because it makes the next project better, which is clearly why Stormblood is so good.
Okay, but actually, yeah, okay, A, no, it's not. And
That
B,
is sarcasm.
you can turn back the clock and use those regrets and then make the game better right from the start. Like if
That's fair.
If you're turning,
Oh, sorry.
if you're turning back the clock, that means you're using your hindsight to make a perfect game, you stupid bitch.
So I don't know if she said this or who said this, but there's a picture here with a caption, and it says, "One could argue forever about the role of a good story in a video game." This might be the person who wrote the article.
The article.
But on a
writer.
personal level, if the story isn't well made, then the game falls flat for me, as it's very hard to take, for me to take the said game series and the story and the game's characters aren't believable throughout. So are they saying that like 14's story has a super believable characters?
Bullshit right now, or
I don't know. That's a weird thing for them to put there. Robin then asks or says, "I am one of those players who feels like the story in a game is just as important as the gameplay or having an awesome soundtrack. Well, at least when it comes to deeper games, such as Doom don't exactly need a deep story to push the game forward."
All right, fuck you. That's got a great story.
No, but they're saying like, okay, the original Doom though,
Yeah.
Okay,
like games like that, the gameplay pushes it forward, not the story.
That's fair.
He says, anyways, my question for you would be if you think that storytelling has evolved and matured in the world of games since the 80s and 90s. Well, okay, the short answer would be yes, but instead they give the longest answer for this
Seriously?
compared to the other questions. Like,
This.
Otis says, it cannot be denied that the efforts of those developers who went before us with their drive to make more exciting experiences has led to the development and maturation of storytelling in games. However, I personally get the impression that creators have always optimized their efforts to the technology and capacity to depict worlds available at the time in order to create the best fit. There is obviously a gulf of difference between the volume of story content you could fit into limited memory cartridges of the NES era and what you can achieve today. In short, developments in the technology have allowed us to depict even deeper stories.
Okay, bullshit, because, like, look, okay, compare...
No, yeah, because, like, look at FF6, which is on the Super
FF6,
Nintendo.
FF5, FF4, like, you have a very deep and compelling story. Chrono Trigger, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Like, you can have a great fucking story and have it be on a 16-bit system. So, fuck you, Oda.
It says, in addition, back in the days of simplistic pixel sprite visuals, you could get away with equally simple dialogue. But in a game with realistic 3D visuals, just having that capacity for more detailed portrayals requires more fitting dialogue. That's fair, though.
No, it's not. Because we were talking about before about how fucking padded this story is and how many text boxes it says it takes to say, hey, this person's kidnapped or whatever.
Good point. If you go further into that, the depth of emotion created is completely different between text dialogue that you read and spoken dialogue you listen to. Why doesn't it should just all be spoken? There are those points that I feel have become more optimized. Not in 14.
Yeah, you're not optimizing. You're fucking fluffing and padding and fucking taking a giant like fucking
all right,
Japanese
Taro, I want to address
eating.
something Taro said in the chat right now. She says, won't deny 14 has its issues, but you're going to tell me other MMOs storylines are better made. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying there are some stories in MMOs that are great. We have always said that one of the greatest things that Final Fantasy games have had, even if their gameplay is lackluster, is their story. Now, this is not an all MMO podcast. This is a podcast about FF14, and we are comparing it to other games within Square Enix, to within the company of this game, to within other storylines within 14 that have been better. And we're trying, again, we are a critical podcast because we want 14 to be better, not because we don't like it or want it to fail. So the reason we're sitting here complaining, and I know you're trying to troll us, but again, we are not trying to sit here and say that 14 sucks and that other MMOs are better or that even other MMO stories are better. They're probably not. I think Final Fantasy does a great job for trying to integrate story and gameplay and yada yada compared to other MMOs that just have a grind fest. Like, this isn't that, and we know that. So I can give 14 credit where it's due. However, as 14 continues. We want to make sure that it grows instead of falls behind. And what's happening is with the launch of 2.0 and even with Heavensward, and now it's kind of falling backward, it's regressing, and that's what we don't want.
But Nika, I don't feel like you can really compare this to any other MMORPG because it's a completely different universe. And if you compare it to other FF games, that's not fair because they're not an MMORPG as well.
No, I mean, that's fair. Like, I
feel like it's an isolated game that you just can't compare to anything else because it's so different from everything else.
It's so different. But you can't compare it.
Systems are very similar to everything else.
It is, but
yeah.
On some levels, you can't compare it to single player games. But you looking at like FF11, I can say that FF14, I can give it credit for having a continuous storyline. I do find that, you know, even though each expansion is segregated somewhere else, I feel like things have continued. FF11's expansions felt so far separated that you could skip expansions and just go to the next one and like it wouldn't even matter because it's so far separated. So like I can sit here and give 14 like claps for it, but however, I felt in certain parts of 11's story, I was more drawn into who the characters were. I cared more about their struggles and their pleas than I care about Lise. And as much as I want to love Lise, again, we complained about what was the point of her being Ida if that doesn't come into fruition sometime in the story. Like it has to play out.
How can she?
How can it?
Yeah, so like so while 14 does a good job at telling a story in an MMO, we want 14 to continue to grow as an MMO and as a storytelling MMO because like really that's what sells 14. It's like, yes, this is an MMO that's fun and also has a great story, unlike most MMOs. And so what we don't want to see now is 14's story regressing and becoming worse as they try to focus on other things. Like Final Fantasy and Square Enix has always had storytelling as their like main gripping thing. So here we are being critical of the story so that they don't make that mistake and then lose their main gripping thing that draws people in, which is the story. So that's my explanation to the troll, and shut the fuck up. Anyway, Ishikawa answers, when you are working in the medium of games, what you should try to deliver is an quote-unquote experience. Both the more simplistic depictions and stories of past games and the more complex ones of today can deliver the kind of experience that moves people. Just like Mr. Oda says, even though game creators have optimized the way they work to what is available at the time, the fundamental objective they aim for has not changed. See, she's a little bit smarter, I think. However, and this is something you can say about something you could say about any era, the environment that players actually play our games in is constantly changing. With new culture and new trends being created all the time, I think that we will continue to experiment with what kinds of stories provide the best experience for a good 10 years to come. But here the article writer says that they didn't realize Oda was a huge fan of Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and the Witcher series. So apparently he is a fan of those and maybe can draw inspirations from that for storytelling.
So that's why the story is so bad.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because
I don't know how that relates.
The Witcher's garbage, Elder Scrolls is garbage, Fallout is garbage. So it makes sense that Final Fantasy 14 story is all garbage. Taro in the chat is asking, do we consider 4.3 a step back? In terms of 4.0 content, 4.3 is probably a step forward, but in terms of 2.0 and 2.x and 3.x, it's definitely a step backwards.
Yeah, that's a good analysis. Like all of Stormblood we said have kind of fallen down, but then 4.3 is beginning to pick it up. So now again, we're continuing the criticism so that when 4.4 drops, it continues moving forward instead of stepping backward again. Yeah, I think this should be self-explanatory at this point. I hope that was good enough explanation.
Story was meh. Teaser was cool. That's kind of where I'm at with that.
I completely forgot about what happened in 4.3.
Yeah, we never had like a story spoiler episode. Like if we finish this early, can we just talk about it?
I mean, Nero might get mad at us if we do. But
That's
I mean,
true.
I want to do
want to be? I mean, but we're not going to be here next week. When are we going to talk about the story? It's been out for a while now.
The week after. I mean, I wanted to talk about the spoiler shit the week of, Nika, and you weren't here, and everyone said not to, but I was
okay.
fully
We cannot
prepared,
do it without
them. I mean, it's. I don't know.
I'm super passionate about the stories, and I love being here for the story episodes. But
yeah, I forget.
You're like, I can't even remember what happened.
I don't actually.
Let me just say, I really wish I could cosplay the new Primal because it looks badass, but I doubt I'll be able to do it.
Oh, that's
anyway,
right.
Anyway, man, it is so fucking hot. It's like the first time all year that it's been so hot in my apartment.
Good.
dying. Anyway, I'm like sweating. So gross.
Dying.
Anyway,
I'm so sweaty.
I'm dying.
Ugh,
It's
but I'm
so
only
gross.
wearing a tank top, and it's,
No, I'm not.
the
I'm in a
sweat is
t-shirt. I need to
glistening
change.
down my
It's so
body. Hashtag humble brag.
Oh well, thanks for the.
We see right
The
through
nice-
you, Nika.
No. I feel really gross.
Can we
Anyway,
bring this back about the game, okay?
oh, that's your chance at trying to host this. Okay, sure.
that was terrible.
Let's bring this back about
At
the
least
game.
let's try to pimp Nika and like get some streamer girl
You know,
tits on this stream.
Okay.
Streamer? What? Get some streamer
What?
girls. No, I tried. Nobody cares about my boobies. I wear low cut shirts and I don't get more viewers. So why bother?
Okay, well, you
Just
leaning
saying.
forward?
There's a whole persona you have to cultivate, okay?
Yeah, but if you do that, Twitch bans you. Twitch bans you for
No,
doing that.
the
Just
rookies
arch your
get
back a
banned,
little bit.
okay?
It works.
The rookies get banned. The professionals know how to work that
This
shit.
girl's like,
Yeah.
trust me, Nika, I venture a lot of tit streamers, and they are not banned
I've
yet.
cultivated many a titty streamer before.
I'm not
I
that.
got
I'm not
this.
that promiscuous, and I don't want to be.
Okay, well, guess what? Limit Break Radio's wallet says you need to be.
Gotta make that money.
I'm just going to continue past that comment. All right. Robin says, it might just be me, but isn't most of the stories and quests of FF14 rather happy and optimistic? Oh, that's a good question. I got nothing against that, but is that something you normally aim for by default? And would you be open for darker stories in the future? A mix of happy and dark stories sounds like a good idea in my book. I mean, it works really well in the Elder Scrolls series, for example. All right, and this is where he says, first, I must point out that I love the Elder Scrolls series as well as Fallout and The Witcher and others. Outside of that, I really do like so many other things with dark stories, such as the novels A Song of Ice and Fire. Having said that, though, I cannot ignore looking at the issue of how far the fans of Final Fantasy series actually want darker stories. Considering the FF14 user base, I feel that we definitely need a level of reality that stands up to the expectations of adult players, but don't think that we necessarily have to make dark themes a selling point. However, I am not completely ruling out all dark developments in the story. So they do hear us. They do realize that we want some darker elements. That's something.
I mean,
And didn't they just talk about the killing off the darlings theory? And they're like, oh yeah, I know, we should definitely do that. But then they're like, well, I guess we could do that, but I don't feel like it really needs to be in the FF games. Like, what the fuck?
Wait, Skuro, it gets better in a couple questions.
Ishikawa's answer was, we aim to make FF14 a game that people will play for a long time, but at the same time, we want to allow a more casual playstyle too. We have tweaked and fine-tuned the lore setting, and the cheeriness of the story, so that people who have come home from work tired can still log in
God.
and have fun.
What
Wait, you don't think
the
people that
fuck?
come home from work tired would appreciate a dark story?
what the fuck?
Because personally, I am the type of person who wants to get absorbed in great dark stories and entertainment on my days off, not on her days working.
What?
That is a weird,
What the fuck does that even mean?
Like, I have never heard that. I've never heard that, like, oh, on the days that I'm tired from work, I just want happy-go-lucky stories, and then on days that I'm off, I want dark stories. I have never, ever heard anyone say anything like that. And
That-
Forbidden Prayer was not dark. It was a little more serious, but I wouldn't say it was that dark. But
Yeah, it's not dark. It was just the logical conclusion of
the next question continues with this.
the Doma storyline. Like, how else could that have ended?
Because the GG, or 4.3. Yeah, that's what 4.3, not 4.4. The GG then asks, one of the hardest things that a writer might have to deal with is the killing of his or her own characters. Just ask Robert Kirkman, the director of Walking Dead. So my question to you would be the following. Have you ever become overly attached to any of the characters of FF14? If so, how do you handle the outcome of a potential death of a character that you like? Oda says, I might be quite a dry person in that regard, but I don't have any resistance to killing off characters if I feel that the story development needs it. However, Haurchefant was a character who was widely loved by many players, so I was reticent to have him die,
Oh my god!
and I had many discussions with Yoshida about it
Fuck
over
you!
over the process of writing the plot for Heavensward. But so
Jesus Christ! The only reason he was beloved is because he died.
yeah, I don't think as many people cared about him
was
until
hot
he
chocolate.
had that great moment of sacrifice. Like people liked him, but he wasn't that beloved until he had that
No,
moment of
fuck
sacrifice.
that. People didn't even know who the fuck he was.
Yeah.
I-
Like, oh yeah, he was that guy who gave us hot chocolate, right? Like, and if people even remember that.
That was what I knew
If
about
that.
him.
Yeah.
Yes. There was a few people I think that liked him, especially if they played the Japanese version because he had much more vocal inflections and he was very flamboyant. So I think some people who played the Japanese version thought he was more interesting of a character, but otherwise I don't think anyone had much attachment to him. Yeah, but then especially because we all agreed here that killing the Sultana would have been more meaningful and killing Estinian would have been meaningful. However, here they both are alive and kicking, and Estinian shows up randomly in random places in the storyline. Estinian is in the level 70 Dragoon quest. It's like he just pops in.
Oh, he is? That's so dumb.
He is. It's actually really cool. You get to fight with him in a trial, and it's really fun.
No, that's dumb.
I took like a ton of screenshots because it was cool. But again, he should be dead, and it shouldn't have happened. But anyway, Ishikawa says, I see both having a character die and having them come back alive as always. Or no, wait, sorry. Having a character die and having them come back alive as ways that they can fulfill their role in the story. So I'm not particularly resistant to doing it.
Oh my god.
However, having the characters that I created killed off by other people of the staff makes me wonder if they want to start a vendetta.
Oh my god. Listen to this. Like, I'm sure that's supposed to be like a lighthearted comment.
She says there were many examples of that between 2.5 and 3.0. So recently I have been taking on responsibility for the main story.
Okay, no.
They killed off like all of her characters. That's actually really funny.
Oh my god. That's
not the way you should be viewing that. You should be granted, like Jex was saying, like, it's probably like, a lighthearted comment, but like, no, you should be killing off people because, people get this sort of investment attachment to them, and it would be impactful in the story. Not just, like, randomly kill someone, but, like...
If it makes sense for them to die, they should die and stay dead.
Exactly.
Right, and, like, looking back on it, like, you guys laugh at whoever, who is Moon Brita. But to be fair, Moon Brita was a very OP character. She comes in and she's like, I'm this magical science person who has all the solutions to stopping the Asians forever. So, like, if she was around, like, the story would have ended.
Because
so they had to kill her.
Rock. That's all she had.
No, she had a bottle.
She was designed to die.
She had a bottle.
You could suck in all the Asians into it. Remember?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She had the solution to trapping all the Asians into the realm, like the Zelda sacred realm. She could trap them all there forever, so she had to die.
Cured cancer.
It sounds like this Ishikawa person, one of her characters was the Sultana, which is why they came back to life in Heaven's Ward.
Oh my god. What if Moon Brita is Ishikawa's character?
See, no, I bet Moon Brita, Ysayle, and Harshaphon were all her characters. Just watch.
No, think about it. Like there were so many examples of that between 2.5 and 3.0. What happened in 3.5 to 3.0?
The 2.5 and 3.0 is where all the Scions died but then didn't die.
And the Sultana.
Who didn't die.
So she has recently taken on responsibility for the main story, which means she purposely
brought
brought back the Sultana.
Life? No, she brought back. Well, they technically all died in 2.55, and she brought them all back.
Yeah.
And see, I have a problem with that. They're just like, oh yeah, having them come back. It's like, no, you should just have them die, and that is it. Have another character step in and become like a different entity. Like that would be awesome.
The reason the story sucks right now is because of Ishikawa. Straight up.
Confirmed.
Straight up.
She might be implying that she didn't like how everybody died at 2.5, and she decided to rewrite them into the story.
And that's horrible.
That is fucking garbage.
Good job, Ishikawa. Good job. Okay. Robin then asks, I'm not sure how much you're allowed to say, but where will you take the story of 14 next? And if you're not allowed to say anything, then perhaps you could give us a hint of the direction at least. Otis says, I'm not ready to lose my job yet, so I cannot talk about any future story developments here. If I were to give you a hint, though, because we have now been running the game for 5 years, I really want to explore new ideas or ways of telling stories so things don't get stale and boring.
Too late.
Yeah.
Okay.
I never thought about that 3 years ago.
Ishikawa says, I often get asked what a story that never ends is, but we do envisage, is that right? Envision a proper conclusion to the current main story in 14 and are slowly but surely moving things towards that. You can rest assured that this conclusion will not mean the end of game service, though. What does that even mean?
What?
It means we're going to wrap up the story, like the overall Asian Garlean story in the 5.0, 6.0, and then some bigger alternate thread is going to happen in 7.0, and then that's going to be like a new quote story.
They're probably going to do another Calamity.
Okay.
No, not doing another Calamity.
No, I don't think they'll do that.
They would, like, hey, we'll just put out dungeons and raids, but they're not going to have any stories.
No. That's what. No, that's like where FF11 has gotten to after like a million years of service. 14 is not at that point yet.
Yeah,
No, no, no,
I hope
no, 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 no,
I mean,
no, no, no.
how many expansions did
No.
11 have?
Well, Rise of the Zerlart, Chains
Does
of
that
the
even
Mafia.
count Rise of Zilart?
It does because it was
does.
launched. It does because the game was launched in Japan for an entire like year before it came out in America.
It was like a beta at that point.
Rise of the
No, that was a
Zerlart,
full game.
COP, Treasures,
COP, Treasures, Wings of the Goddess, Adolin.
Adolin. So 5 expansions. So we're quickly approaching that, Nika. Next
No, we're on
expansion
the
is
third
5.0.
Yeah, but I don't count 2.0 as an expansion. I think the game started again at 2.0.
I'm calling 2.0 as Rise of the Zilart.
Yep, I think it's fair.
It's fair.
I see your comparisons. However, when I think about when they say they want the players to sustain the game, I feel like a lot of people were not playing since 1.0. I feel like the player base has completely changed since 2.0, and I want to. It's a new game.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Next question.
Robin asks, "I would sure love to hear where your sources of inspiration are when you wrote up the stories and whatnot." Great professional interviewing. Furthermore, is there any specific part of 14's lore, quests, or stories that you like more than anything else? If so, why? Otis says, personally, I get a lot of my inspiration from history, mythology, and folklore. I think I have also been influenced a lot by fantasy and sci-fi novels too. It is very difficult to narrow it down to just one section of the story as my favorite. Recently, I had a lot of fun writing some crazy stories for the Namazu Beast Tribe quest. I hope you look forward to seeing them.
You know, I would like to see them, but there's absolutely no fucking way I'm going to do crafter dailies.
All right, I can talk about them for like 2 seconds. Is that the actual quests are horrible, but the in between, like even though the actual stories of them are like, oh, we're making a festival, it actually is a little bit cuter than I expected it to be.
So it's like the Moogle bullshit then.
I mean, the Moogle bullshit felt like it had less purpose. Like the Namazu tribe is like they have to create this festival because they believe that their evil god will smite them if they don't do certain things to like appease the god or whatever and to stop their destruction. And so every single time you like add something to the festival, it's like, oh, because of the newfound relations between the Namazu and the Ora, if this stops a future incident where the Ora would become starving and kill all of them, now they won't do that. So you have stopped their destruction once again. Yeah, like there's.
How do you know that?
Well, because the narrator tells you.
Oh, okay.
But it's cool because it's kind of scary and dark actually because it shows like an entire screen of all the Namazu like dead on the ground, and it's kind of dark actually. And then it's like, and every single time, every single main like rank up quest is something like that. Like, oh, you added this to this now, and because of this calamity for the Namazu doesn't happen, and so you've delayed their destruction once again. And so they're showing how it all ties together. And how, when they said the last rank up quest I did was that one I just said with the Ora, and it actually told the little story in a blurb of how the Ora were going to become starving after something happened, and they were going to kill all the Namazu to eat because they had nothing else to eat. But now that won't happen because now they're friends. And so like you are actually like building up Namazu lore basically and like stopping them from destruction. And so I think they actually have more lore and story behind the Namazu on the like creator side and on the writing side of it. However, because the Namazu are so ridiculously silly, they're presenting it in the form of a festival.
Can I get a picture of all the Namazu dead as a large screenshot so I can put on my background?
Yes.
I will see if I can find one online. If not, the next rank up quest, if it shows it, I'll screenshot it for you.
All right,
or I wonder if I can see it at the in book.
Wait, at every rank up, it just shows always.
Yeah, every rank up when it tells you like what a calamity for the Namazu you have prevented, it shows a screen of like all of them dead.
Nice.
And it is like you have prevented this from happening. Yeah. So
okay, at least that's,
so I'll see if I can find it in the end. Otherwise, I'll try to screenshot it. Okay? Wylam says nope. I'd still eat them, and Majoga says, is the Namazu all dying off really that bad of a thing?
Seriously.
Well, the whole point of these quests is to stop them from death. So they're like, okay, we need to have this festival. We need to have a certain amount of people in this festival. We need to have certain events at this festival, and everything you do like changes the future of the Namazus. So
yeah, but now I don't even want to do any of the quests because I just want them to die off.
I mean, technically, in your game, if you don't do the quests to help them, they will eventually, in 7 years, all be dead.
So do your part, people.
Don't do the quest. 7
years
years from now, all the Namazus will die. Yeah. Yeah. Ishikawa says that music is essential to me when I am stretching my imagination. It is a very important tool to help connect me with the emotions of others. I don't think too hard about the original purpose of a song or the lyrics, and I just lose myself in the overall feel of it, which is when I begin to see the scenes that I want to illustrate. What I like best from the story of 14 are many of the scenes where we say goodbye to characters. Again, how many of those are there? Some of them are joyful partings, while others are filled with sadness added death. I hope that these kinds of scenes will stay in the minds of players alongside their own meetings and farewells between each other.
Then quit bringing them the fuck back.
Yeah, like because I understand there were a few joyful partings that were nice. Like,
what? Like, what joyful part? Like, I mean, granted, we've like left people that they just come back anyway.
Yeah, like again, like Estinian, even though he didn't die, we had a joyful parting with him as he went off on a pilgrimage, and he keeps showing up. Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know. And even still, and then there are some
with someone, and they just permanently be gone. Other than I guess Harshaphon, who is actually like.
And then sad partings at a death. Okay, we had Urianger with Moonbreeda's death, which was sad. We had Harshaphon's death. Ysaele's death. She didn't get a proper mourning. She fought. She turned into Shiva, saved our asses, and then we didn't actually get to say goodbye to her. And I'm really mad about that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's because she was a fucking dragon heretic, Nika. She deserved to die in the sky and get
she deserved
no
to die at
funeral
first,
whatsoever.
and then you realize that she doesn't want things that are all that different from you, and she actually was a fallen warrior of light too. So shut up.
Yeah, she fell, Nika. Fell with the dragons.
Yeah, because she thought
and she
that
wanted
selling
that
her soul,
dragon dick.
She thought that she thought that becoming Shiva would be the best way to save the world. So
well, she thought wrong.
I'm glad she's dead.
Yeah.
The only reason I want her alive again is so I can kill her again because she was a fucking heretic.
Yeah. She was a main character for the entirety of Heavensward, and that's seriously your opinion of her.
I even like Moogles.
What?
No.
She loves Moogles.
No, that's gross, Skuro.
Deep down, hate him.
Gosh. There is one question left in this interview.
All right, let's fucking wrap this fucking shithole up.
What are your plans, hopes, and expectations for the rest of the year? Is there anything else that you would like to say to our readers? Oda says, thank you for reading this far.
You're so fucking welcome. This has been truly awful.
I have been involved with the development of 14 for 7 years since the original and 5 years since ARR, and I am so grateful to our fan community. I will continue to try my best to satisfy all the players, so please keep supporting us.
Please keep giving us money, otherwise they will beat me.
Ishikawa at least claims it as it is and says, thanks to everyone out there, we managed to exceed 10 million registered players worldwide. At least it didn't say, active players after the release of Stormblood. The whole development team don't want to lose momentum there, though, and will continue to do our best to entertain our players. There will be 3 different fan festivals held at different locations across the world from the end of the year into next year, so I would love to share the excitement with you all there. Is she going to be there? Do we say to her face how stupid she is for bringing people back? Do we get to see her in person?
Yeah, I feel we better.
Like, that's her, Ishikawa.
Ishikawa, why did you bring back the Sultana, and why did you ruin Final Fantasy XIV's story?
Do you think so? If they, I wonder if they'll do like a question from the audience part of like a live letter at then, and we can just say, why did you ruin this?
Anyway. They're gonna ask from some weird fucking bunny suit.
No, we got bunny suits and we got summoner glamour. So what else the fuck can they ask?
Like cat girl glamour. I don't know. For the other species.
Turn a cat boy literally into a cat girl. Is that where we're going with this? Or
what else can they add? Is it a serious question, Nika? Like what the fuck will they not add at this point? Like that is a challenge to like all ERP people out there.
Well,
like someone's wanting like a furry bear costume.
What?
We have mascot costumes.
Yeah, like what like mascots do we have left to do, like from like other
we have
Fantasies?
A ton. There are like we could do like look at FF10 they had the mascot job class. We could easily get like we have the Moogle. They had a Tomberry, and what was the other one?
Chocobo?
Was it?
I don't know.
We have a Chocobo mascot costume in this game.
Cactuar? I'm not even talking like mascots. I'm talking about like characters from other Final Fantasies.
Oh, well, we have characters from 7, 8, 9.
Well, we
10.
got Squall, so that's everyone from that game.
Yeah, we have
we have Cloud, so that covers that.
Yeah, we have Cloud, we have Unantitus, we have Zidane. We have lightning and snow. We have Unentitus. We have
We have everyone from Final Fantasy IV because of the glamours in Heavensward.
what's his face? Oh my god, I'm totally blanking on his name right now.
Who? Cecil?
No, we have Fury and Glamour too, don't we? The gambler Setzer. We have Setzer outfit and we have Furion outfit. What else do we have?
See, but like while in the chat's pointing out, like, you know, you're gonna ask this serious question and they're gonna be like, oh, so when are we gonna have kids in the game? And it's like, are you kidding me?
But honestly, speaking of that though, like there actually hasn't been like we haven't even seen every race's children yet.
We
right?
don't care, Nika. We don't
but
care.
I mean I would like to explore the different origins of races and things like that. We've only seen a couple of the race's children. I think it's kind of weird that we don't see more, not like our characters' children. It would be silly for our characters to have children. But I mean, like, more NPCs in the story and more people in the towns should have kids. But there's not that many kids in this game.
Because kids don't do anything. We don't need kids.
They're useless. They just stay in the house.
Yeah. They just try to kill themselves.
I feel like we could have some compelling plot
We have
points
fucking
if there was...
Chloe and Zoe and all these other stupid
Yeah,
bullies.
and their side story is like cute at best, but it's not great.
Yeah,
And-
it's not great because they're kids.
Because how much sadder would it be if Harshafant had a kid he left behind?
Oh my
So
God.
much
I
more
thought he
fucking
was
sad.
gay.
Oh,
What?
and then when we get there,
You
he
can't
gets
be. You
stabbed
can't
in the
have kids
chest
if you're
too.
gay. Are you just like homophobic now? What's up
No,
with that?
no, I didn't know he had a kid.
I said
I
he
thought
doesn't.
he was homosexual for his entire life.
No, you
I wasn't
you can
adopt
have a
one.
kid if you're gay.
I
It's
know
called
you-
adoption.
Okay, but that's not your kid.
Yes, it is.
Ooh.
Oh my God, is this
It's
really
not-
what this show is turning into
It's
right now?
not biological,
going
so it's
here.
not your
It
child.
doesn't have to be biological. Whoever raises you is your parents. So shut up.
I mean, it's like your step parent.
No,
It's like
not if they
parent by
adopt you.
law.
You're legally, by all intents and purposes, that person's child.
Yeah, but you can't say that they're your parent because you're not blood related.
Gotta be by blood.
No, family is family. It doesn't have to be blood.
I
What a
agree
fake.
with you, Nika. I just didn't know he had a kid.
Unless
or he
you-
adopted
you-
a
he
child.
Say-
So that's why I was like, that's kind
He
of.
doesn't
weird
have a
juxtaposition.
kid.
He doesn't. Okay then.
That's what I'm saying. How much more, Mike? Oh,
You're
God.
so dumb,
I got
Lloyd.
confused.
Do I have to teach? Okay, I'm
Minus
gonna treat
one,
you. I'm
Lloyd.
gonna treat you like my kindergartners. All right, let's take our ears and turn our keys and turn your ears on, please,
Turn our
because
ears.
the teacher is talking. Okay, thank you. I'm so glad you're all listening with your eyes on me. I said, how much more sad would it have been if Harshafant had a kid and then died and left the kid behind?
Okay, so
Lloyd.
Nika, this is what I'm talking about. If you would talk in that voice all the time and wear like a nice busty tank top, we just label the thing LBR AMSR, we will make millions. All right.
Wait, what does that mean? I don't know what that means.
Wrong acronyms. What that is?
You know what I mean.
I
I
don't.
know
What
you
does it mean?
ASMR.
Skuro, explain it. You know all about it.
ASMR? I don't know what that means.
Was audio? It's a fucking acronym, man. I don't shit. I don't really. I
It's
just know the
basically
general-
where you get a really, really expensive microphone and you make like sounds in it and you talk
Autonomous?
softly.
autonomous sensory meridian response. So
There
it
you-
makes you feel good because you're hearing sounds that make you feel good.
Oh,
Like,
I get it. Okay. Majoka says his dad had kids. Yes, it's sad that he left his siblings and father behind, but I'm talking like the whole point of the conversation was that we haven't seen children very often in this game, like actual small versions of the races.
it's
You
because
should
we
see my
can't
hand
kill them
motions
off.
right now. I'm like all over the place, like small ones.
We have
Yeah.
Lalafell. Doesn't that count
Harsha-
as small people?
No, because we have not seen a Lalafell child, have we?
How would
We've
you tell?
seen
They're all
Mikote.
Lalafell.
We've
They're all
seen
tiny.
Elizin. We've seen Elizin child. We've seen Mikote child, and we've seen Hira's children.
Okay, that's everything.
Yeah, it just, dude, like they did Taru children, and that was a mistake because it just looked like a
Tara children were
tiny
they were like
potato.
baby dolls.
It was so weird.
So we haven't seen Lalafell children, Aura children, Rogadin children.
There's Aura children.
Is there?
There definitely is. I'm
There
positive there
definitely
is
is,
in
yeah.
the step.
Where? Someone in the
step.
chat. Where have we seen Aura? Okay.
There you
Tara
go.
says we've seen one.
Taru.
Where? Tell me
It
where.
was in the
I'm
MSQ.
probably wrong.
No,
I might
no.
be wrong.
In the MSQ, when we're like trying to find Lise, she's playing with the Aura children.
Yeah, you
And then
pick up fucking
they're
poop
collecting-
with the all
yeah,
our
they're collecting
children,
shit.
Nika.
Oh, okay.
You've
Oh, yeah,
complained about
no,
this
you're
before.
right. There are sarcasm stuff. You're
You
right.
dumb
You're right.
dick.
Okay. Fuck off. So we've never seen Lalafell Rogan and children, and even still, walking around a town, you would see more children than we do.
Oh
You
my
see, there's
gosh.
one group of children that you see. Okay, you, Mister, I'm a dad and I have a baby who's adorable. Why wouldn't you want more babies in this game too?
Because the only baby in the world that is beautiful is mine.
What?
We're not going to put my baby in the game. You wouldn't
Why
be able
not?
to properly render
Just
the
name a
beautifulness.
Name a baby Bert Bert.
There's not enough polygons in the world of Final Fantasy 14.
I also agree with more mixed NPCs. Because we have, again, Hilda, a character who fell off the face of the earth,
Oh my
who
God.
is a mixed race, and she was really cool and then didn't get that much screen time because apparently they don't think that mixed characters are cool enough for screen time.
No.
And so
gotta
now
keep
we
the
know
bloodlines pure.
that Square Enix, and again, Square Enix is a Japanese company who I know treats half Japanese people pretty poorly also. They see that half these characters in games also they treat poorly. So calling you out, Square Enix, for racism, put in some more half these characters
Oh.
and more children.
We
Thank
don't
you.
we don't like their kind in this game. Okay. You got to keep the bloodline pure.
God damn, get out of here.
This
Go.
conversation
Get
got
out.
really stupid.
Get out.
All right, so that wraps up.
Oh, she is in the Machinist Quest? Okay, I haven't gotten to those ones yet.
We don't care. We don't care about Machinist. We don't care about stupid half races. All right. What
Yeah,
we
we
do
do.
care about is wrapping up the show because this is really
We still
stupid.
have 20 minutes. I'm trying to fill this. Okay?
Oh my God, Nika, I'm gonna fill it. All right, I can fill
Okay,
it
go.
with the best of it. All right.
Go.
So that wraps up our main discussion, but we also